Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We're here today to talk for anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes about portfolio management with Atlassian tools. Specifically, we're going to talk about the challenges of portfolio management, and then we're also going to look at Jira Align and advanced roadmaps as options for managing large portfolios. My name is Brian Dar. I am a business process consultant here at Expium. I'm also a SAFe program consultant, and I've got a smattering of Jira certifications. So if you have any questions about any of those products or frameworks, I'm happy to answer them. If you feel like stalking me, there's a LinkedIn QR code there as well. This video will eventually show up on our YouTube channel. That's not the right window to show a new tab. So if you ever need to find any other things that we've been doing, you can search YouTube for Expium. We have a channel, and this video, along with many other ones, like we have Introduction to Jira Service Desk, we have Introduction to Jira Align, a lot of little helpful tips here. So if you need to find this later, it'll be available on YouTube. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We're working through the introduction right now. After this, we're going to talk about concepts in portfolio management and within the Atlassian ecosystem. We're going to then show the tools themselves. So we're going to do maybe a 10-minute dive into both advanced roadmaps, formerly Portfolio for Jira, and Jira Align, formerly AgileCraft. And then we're going to talk about what is new and what is coming up in both products. And then lastly, we'll do Q&A. I think I can sometimes see over in my periphery when a question pops up. So I'll probably glance over there from time to time, but it's also hard to keep pace with the webinar and also answer questions. So if I don't get to your question right away, there will definitely be time at the end. All right, so let's talk about these products. So within the Atlassian ecosystem, there are two major products to do portfolio management. The first and flagship one, which is a recent acquisition, is Jira Align. Like I said, it's formerly AgileCraft. And the other one is Atlassian's own product that used to be called Portfolio for Jira, which is now Advanced Roadmaps. Both of these tools sit on top of Jira and consume Jira data and present them in a consumable way, often in the form of roadmaps. For those of you that know Jira Align a bit, I know I'm doing it a great disservice by describing it like that. Jira Align also provides much more functionality above that Jira layer. So one way to think about both these products is if in basic Jira you have stories and epics, everything beyond that goes into these two products. So initiatives or safe portfolio epics, themes, yearly goals, strategic goals, all of that stuff. Yeah, so let me talk about each of them a little more specifically. So Jira Align, its positioning is if you are doing scaled agile, if you already have a framework, and if you've been doing it for quite a while, there's actually some prerequisites around it. You have to be, or at least Atlassian strongly recommends that you be doing scaled agile, at least with a program, for at least 2 complete PIs, and are doing it to some degree of success. So this tool is very large scale. It is for enterprises. In fact, they won't really sell it to anybody that's not large enough or has enough scaled agile experience. The reason why is because the tool itself, although highly configurable, does require you to work in a certain way. Like you really can't structure it around traditional HR, department business unit structures. It really is designed to be used in a scaled agile fashion. So if you and in particular SAFe, but you can also use the Spotify model. And as we'll see in the demo later on, it actually supports a number of models in being able to select nomenclature. This is a full application. It does sit on top of Jira. It consumes Jira data from 1 or more Jira sources. You can also pull in Trello data as well. And it is designed to tie up all the work being done by the masses, for less of a better term, and roll those up in a pyramid all the way up to the corporate strategy. So at the very top of this whole period, you have the company's mission, vision, and values, and you can trace every single work item up from story, through feature, through portfolio epic, through a theme, to a more strategic theme, to your company's mission, vision, and values. In addition to that, Jira Align also provides connectivity off to the side for orthogonal tagging of work items. And you can attach key results to those tags. So you could build objectives, for example, PI objectives, program objectives, portfolio objectives. Jira Align keeps track of those and can report on those. And you can also set key results attached to those. So now you have OKRs, which are the newest incarnation of KPIs and SMART goals, and everything else that we've been seeing in the last how many years of businesses and portfolio management. Because everything's connected, anybody can click on something they're working on in Jira Align and look straight at the pipe to answer why they're doing something. Actually, let me talk just a little bit more about it. So Jira Align is huge. It is a massive application, and it's still growing. They're still adding lots of functionality daily to it. So if you're interested, let me see, do I have a slide? Yes, okay. So yeah, I'll talk about implementation later. What is coming? So they just retooled the strategy room in Jira Align. So if you're used to the product, or if you've seen other demos, there's a brand new strategy room that goes back to their original pyramid, but also brings in additional information. It's much better than it was before. There's a new connector. So Jira Align and Jira used to be competitors. Jira Align has a team level section that is comparable in many ways to Jira. And so initially there wasn't too much incentive to make them work super well together. So right after the acquisition, it was a little bit harder to make them connect and play really nicely together. The new connector has removed, I'd say, the bulk of, if not all of, the major problems that the old one had. So connecting to the systems is much easier. They've also recently added a Trello integration. So we know we see in our clients a lot of business teams, even product management, that is using Trello as their roadmap. So we can now pull that information in and map it to things within Jira Align. OKRs are also pretty new. And if you don't know much about OKRs, you can read John Doerr's book about OKRs. There's lots of other information out there, but basically objectives and key results is measurable, actually numerically measurable objectives. So so it helps keep your enterprise on track, and Jira Align really supports that in the box. They've also been looking at adding AI. And there's a couple of ways I imagine that's going to manifest itself. Jira Align is very good about serving up other bits of data that you might need, and you'll see that in the demo in a little bit. But they are looking at adding a lot more AI functionality into the product. So that's Jira Align. That's the big enterprise tool where you can see all of your work across multiple enterprise portfolios rolled up into one. The one caveat to all of that is I think that people expect this to be an end-all reporting tool as well. And while it does have a ton of reports inside of it, for your executives, executives in their reports, they still want red, amber, green. They still want spun status reports that have the interpretation in from their lead advisors and VPs and SVPs. So I think that the very top layer of somebody looking into this will probably never be in the tool. We see that with most of our clients. But Jira Align also has a business intelligence tool connector called Leo that creates a data lake that we see almost every client also using to do all of these orthogonal slices, special custom reports. Jira Align is still at its heart a work tracker. It is a very robust work tracker, but it is still a work tracker. So if you want detailed reports and very customized reports, you'll still need and benefit from using their BI tool connector. Conversely, advanced roadmaps, let's switch to that. That started out as portfolio for Jira. And I think this was Atlassian competing with products like AgileCraft. And they got most of the way, but they've been through 3 iterations now. The screenshot you see here is the most recent iteration, and quite frankly, my favorite. I think they finally made it extremely functional to the end user. The positioning of it is it also sits above Jira, and you can create an infinite hierarchy above Jira. You don't need Jira Align for this. It's a totally standalone thing. If you have Jira, you can just use advanced roadmaps, or if you have Jira, you can just use Align. Although if you use Align, I also recommend advanced roadmaps. And what it does is it provides a product level roadmap, and it provides a hierarchy that everything below rolls up into an item in the next level hierarchy. So in advanced roadmaps, you can go from story to Jira Epic to initiative to strategic theme if you want. You can add these extra 2 or 200, although I wouldn't recommend that many, layers on top of basic Jira. It really expands the breadth of the hierarchy there. And you can roll in multiple plans, multiple roadmaps together to get a team of teams view. The extended breadth in the company, I would say, is from developer up through product owner, maybe product management, and maybe one more layer above, depending on how you build your plans. And it is primarily a visualization tool around the data in Jira. So what you can see here, even from this, is we have a calendrical roadmap of Jira issues. And there's a lot of nice features about Jira, about advanced roadmaps that I really like that, again, we will show in the demo in a bit. But some of the most common use cases for this are team management. If you have, let's say, product owners, scrum masters, this provides another really useful view, one step above everything else. So while your team is working across scrum boards and Kanban boards, getting the longer view, your product management probably wants to be using advanced roadmaps. We find it really helpful. In addition to that, the layer above product management, so I would say product management is probably looking at epics and stories, and the layer above is looking at initiatives and epics. And if you build it right, you really don't want the layer above looking all the way down into stories. That's diving in too deep. That's probably asking too many questions. And what's nice about this very, very easy, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, roadmap functionality is, it is always fed live out of Jira. So you can always tell, am I running late? Have I already missed a deadline on this item and it's still open? I hope I'm explaining this right. Obviously there's at times for a question and answer later. But yeah, so this is for product management, development team leads, and maybe just above that, looking down from the initiative layer all the way down. What is new and coming in advanced roadmaps? Well, advanced roadmaps is now no longer available as a cloud add-on. It is now built directly into Cloud Premium and Cloud Enterprise. So Jira Cloud now has these 4 tiers. They have free, standard, premium, and enterprise. Standard is where you start paying for it, obviously. And I think they position this because not only does it provide much needed functionality in Jira, but obviously it'll get people up to that premium level, which also provides you with additional SLA coverage on instance uptime. There's a lot of other features added into it too that we actually cover in another webinar about cloud versus server. But it is now built into Cloud and Premium. It is still a paid add-on in Server and Data Center. Some things that they just added to it, there's now improved sprint and iteration management. So I think as of 3.24, 3.25, something like that, you can now adjust capacity per future iteration. So if people are going on vacation, if holidays are coming up, you can reduce either hourly capacity or story point capacity. They've also added a pretty great visual around capacity management at the team level. And they've also added a Confluence macro recently that allows you to display read-only roadmaps in Confluence. So that's great because you can get your management, product management, and above looking just at a curated Confluence page that has only the most important things. In this situation, you'd be using Confluence as a very robust dashboard, and these play very, very nicely to each other. The Confluence macro is in server. They are currently adding it to cloud if it hasn't come out already. But that's not all that's available out there. So obviously Atlassian wants you to look at Align and advanced roadmaps first because those are their products. There's also Structure. Structure has a similar hierarchical functionality as advanced roadmaps. And I personally really like structure. It does what it does extremely well. It has also a Gantt module that is much like the road mapping section of advanced roadmaps that you can add to it. Those are, or at least were in the past, two separate products. And anybody, like with structure, much like with advanced roadmaps, if you allow it, anybody can build a structure that is this hierarchical view of things. The one thing that I don't like about structure, although I know that they're working to fix, is unlike advanced roadmaps, structure is instant data modification within Jira. So if you make a change, it writes back right away to Jira. Advanced roadmaps provides a whole sandbox environment with which you're not immediately modifying Jira. Big Picture is another very popular tool in the ecosystem. It's sort of a Swiss Army knife for a portfolio and product management. Big Picture provides program boards if you're doing scaled agile. So there's a really nice new revamped version of a program board. Also the kind of thing you can get within Easy Agile program boards as well, or Easy Agile programs. It also provides more detailed capacity management. So if you want to do capacity management and capacity scheduling per team member, you can do it there. Advanced Roadmaps does capacity per team, which I prefer because if you're doing Agile, you have these small self-organized teams that are static. The team doesn't change, just the work changes. And so Advanced Roadmaps kind of pushes you into that model. And we find that a lot of clients, they get really bogged down trying to track every little detail about individual capacity. Generally speaking, it comes out in the wash once you look at laws of large numbers. The Tempo suite also provides additional time tracking functionality. So again, getting away from Agile and more towards traditional management. If you want to do robust time tracking and reporting, Tempo adds all of that on top of Jira's native time tracking. I have Microsoft on here with a question mark because Microsoft also has a very robust set of project management tools right now. You know, all the way up from Azure DevOps up through Microsoft Project. Obviously, working as an Atlassian solution partner, I really prefer the Atlassian products, but Microsoft is still a major player in this as well. And we have built integrations between the two as well, which is pretty cool. So, you know, anything with an API can now be connected. Let's talk about how long it takes to roll out these products. To do a Jira Align implementation, there's a standard jumpstart program that it's called, that you have to go through an Atlassian partner. They won't sell directly to you immediately. And I think this is wise because this is a highly configured product that you're buying. And so you need experts to come on site and help you configure it at first. And hopefully if they're doing it right, they are teaching you to fish along the way. And then once they're gone, you're up and running without a problem. At least that's the way we like to do it. The process goes from planning through discovery, through configuration. They hang on with you through your first PI. Then there's training, there's validation. The whole duration is 4 to 6 weeks on site. Of course, in this day and age, that's a little bit different now. That may be extended because I'm sure you all know it's a lot harder to get everyone together online. At least I find that the immediacy of having somebody standing in your office ready to go helps. But obviously, it's very, very, very doable online. We just got done doing an engagement recently in COVID times, and it was okay. The full rollout though takes 2 PIs or 6 months to see dramatic benefits. Only because it's a big tool and you're connecting the whole enterprise into this tool ultimately. Conversely, advanced roadmaps implementations is a lot faster. We find it takes 1 to 2 weeks on site, and it takes about 30 full days. The reason why is there's only four real steps. You need to modify the data, you need to modify the intake, you need to modify what you're seeing, and then make decisions based on that data. And really the best way to do this is actually to start talking to executives about what decisions are you making, what do you need to see, what are the inputs into that, and then what do we need to do to modify Jira to get that data. The thing is, a lot of times when people install either of these programs, you actually have to do some modification to Jira first. Typically, a lot of people don't have Jira set up exactly right from the beginning. That includes separate projects per team, separate projects for a feature / epic, separate projects for initiatives. You want to have all the separation, not only for performance, but separation of areas of responsibility, and also just general structure underneath Jira. But again, it only takes 30 days to do that, compared to 6 full months for a full effective Jira Align implementation. Obviously, with both of these, though, in an agile world, you should be iterating on this as you go. I'm going to stop for just a minute and talk about our company, and then I'm going to dive into full demos. So really quick, just so you know who you're talking to right now and why you should care. We are an Atlassian Platinum Solution Partner. So Atlassian makes products, and they rely on solution partners to do implementation, services, customization, basically all the services outside of making the product itself, solution partners handle. And we're a Platinum Solution Partner. That's the top tier. A little humble brag there. We really specialize in training on these products and consulting around these products. So, for example, one of the common things we do in the portfolio management area is assessments, and then tool recommendation, and then tool rollouts. So, customizations, that kind of thing. We also have a sister company called Oasis Digital that does full stack custom development. So if you need a solution or an integration or even a whole new skin built on top of Jira, we did that for Volkswagen. You can see it on our website, or on our YouTube channel. We do all of that. As far as training goes, you name the product, we train on it. Some of our most popular ones are Jira Bootcamp for administrators, Atlassian Cloud User Academy. So we teach people when they're moving to cloud, we teach the users and their admins how to get the most out of the new ecosystem. Consulting will do Atlassian configurations, business transformations, and of course ongoing support. And then there's our custom development full stack shop. I have to say, I really like these guys. They have built me so many useful things for our clients. So anyway, if you need it built, we can build it for you. And if you need to get more out of your Atlassian tools, that's why we're here. Thank you for suffering through a commercial. I really hate that part, but obviously we need to pay the piper at some point. So let's get back to portfolio management in Jira and talk about what that looks like, and then dive into a demo. So you can do a lot with Jira just itself. You can do project management. I'm sure that all of you have seen Jira used not only for your software projects, but also you're probably seeing it start to leak into other business areas, other business teams. Jira is really good at handling repetitive tasks. Not only can you set up Jira to make those repetitive tasks, but it's also good at tracking them. Obviously, it is a work tracking program. When you move up a layer, if you're using a scaled framework, Jira handles program management as well. You can tag all of your Jira issues, and we can show you how to do that if you want, to support program execution. Jira is also really good to do HR tracking. We just built for a client an employee onboarding system that deals with insurance industry compliance, and it is all the way from onboarding through termination, and then connecting to all of their external systems for their provisioning phones and getting access to other systems. Jira is really good for building that repetitive runway of work that has to be done. It's also good for capacity planning if you add advanced roadmaps. Jira software alone is really good to do release planning. It provides versioning. When you connect it to any of the dev tools, you then get pipelines for deployment as well. If you're thinking scaled agile, I would definitely think Jira as well, especially with advanced roadmaps. And a note on that, you don't have to go straight to Jira Align. In fact, we really recommend that people start with Jira, and then every company's on a journey. Once you're feeling once you feel like the belt's too tight and you can't breathe, that's a really good time to move up to advanced roadmaps. Setting up for advanced roadmaps will set you up for Jira Align. The structure is the same, and Once you're ready beyond that, that's a good time to go to Jira Align. But you really need more, one or more full programs before you make the jump to Jira Align. If you're doing corporate initiative management, Advanced Roadmaps is great for that. Jira Align is also great for that. And if you're doing M&As too, obviously tracking all the tasks around that. These are tracking tools, and they're wildly popular if you're not using them already. All right, so let's actually dive into the tools themselves. So first, we're going to do Portfolio, and then we're going to do Jira Align. Not Portfolio, sorry, Advanced Roadmaps. All right, so starting on Advanced Roadmaps, this may look a little confusing at first. I've got the screen blown up so that everyone can see more stuff, but let me fix this just a little bit and then give you a tour. So up here at the top, I've got roadmaps, teams, and releases. The roadmap is showing me just that. It's showing me all of my issues in the scope of this plan. And then it's showing me a calendar view of a roadmap based on the target start and target end date fields. So this MVC1, which is in Brian Initiative Project 4, it is set to last from May 23rd through February 9th. If we scroll down, you can see the scope here is actually quite large. And what we're seeing here is in the hierarchy, we're seeing initiatives broken down into child epics. So right now we have a 3-set hierarchy. We have initiatives at the top, epics, and then stories / tasks / everything else underneath that. Here I can change the tiers that I'm looking at. So if I want to dive down even farther or zoom out, I can do that. But I set up this plan just to show what I would say would be a product management view. From there, ignoring the roadmap for a minute, I'm going to collapse that and I'm going to expand our fields. So you can bring in data for each of these issues that you have in the scope of this plan. And in this case, the plan is show me all of my initiatives and show me all of my epics. And then it ties them together appropriately. We can see the status, target start, target end. This field reflects what you saw over in the roadmap. We then have a couple of different ways to show progress. I'm going to collapse these and expand progress. So we have progress by issue count, which is an okay proxy for how you're doing. But obviously, if you have a couple of really big issues and just a couple of really small issues, that's going to be a little off. If you have large numbers rolling into this, this is going to be a better proxy for your work. And this is a roll-up of children issues directly below. So you can see that we have 1 to do and 2 in progress. And then here we have 1 issue and to do. We have many rolled up of done beneath. So you have the whole hierarchy rolling up into this, which is quite helpful. Next, we see estimates, and what we're looking at here is actually a roll-up of estimates. So this epic has 1.56 days of work rolled up from its children, which I'll show you on a different plan. Because again, if we're looking at this level, I don't want people diving all the way into stories. Now, what I can do is, if I have an estimate already set, I think this is supposed to take 5 days, or at least product management said this epic or feature would take 5 days, but the broken down work is only taking 1.56. That's a good time for us to now have a conversation. And then I have progress in days. This can also be in story points. And this is looking at all of the children as well and rolling them up into how much is completed and how much is remaining. This is looking at estimated time. If I set this up in story points, I'd be seeing this rolled up in estimated story points. So this progress bar, I think, is actually really good at telling you how far you are on known issues in Jira. And you can add a lot of other fields too. So you can add custom fields out of Jira as well. And yeah, so lots of information here. The view settings, we can group by different things. We can group by project or sprint or team. You'll see that on the next plan. We can color information. So I've got things colored as red, yellow, and green so that I can do a quick assessment when I'm presenting to management. And there's some other view settings too about are we going to roll up dates? Are we going to roll up estimates and other things? Are we going to show warnings? And speaking of warnings, this will tell you if there's a problem in your plan. So this issue is okay, but there's a warning on one of its children. So we know to expand it and find out that this particular issue, it ends 3 weeks after its parent. Another important thing to note is that any change that I made in here is showing this little orange tag. This is the sandbox feature. So all of these orange tags are getting stored up here and are waiting to be reviewed and then pushed down into Jira if I have write access into Jira. So this is great. You can do an entire plan, work it out with management, and then once you make a decision, push that back to all of the issues in Jira. And you can break it down too to even see what's being changed. You can also choose to push all of it back or just some of it back, or you can discard certain changes. So to me, the sandbox feature is extremely important. There's also an auto schedule feature. So if I click auto schedule and then say preview results, I'm not going to dive too much into the details, but this runs an entire algorithm that is publicly available, or at least the inputs are available within Atlassian documentation. It looks at sprint start, sprint end. It looks at team capacity. It looks at number of assignees, dates, all this stuff. And then according to its best guess, it makes suggestions in purple about where issues really should be as far as target start, target end, and sequencing. So it looks at dependencies as well. And if you want to save those changes, you can accept those changes, and then those roll into the sandbox as well, and then wait to be pushed back to Jira. Lastly, there's a warning setting up here where you can have it where you can select what warnings are going to show up on your plan. Let's hop into plan number 2, which is capacity planning. Over here, I have set up 2 different teams. Well, actually 3, but only 2 matter. Brian Team 1, which is a Kanban team that has 200 weekly hours, and Brian Team 2, which has 200 weekly hours. And back in the roadmap section, you can see that those this plan is grouped by Team 1 and Team 2, and I'm only showing Epic and Story. So this is more of the product owner Scrum Master view, and the team view really. And so it's the same hierarchy over here, just a layer down. And you can see here I've got capacity thermometers, I guess you call them, over here, showing me what's going on. And so, for example, I can see that this particular iteration, I have 160 hours of capacity in it, and I am 126% over. And that's because I thought that in this iteration, one of our workers was going to be out. But instead, it turns out they're not. So I can change this to 200 hours, but I'm still over capacity, which is problematic. Of course, that'll tell me if I want to move an issue into or out of that iteration. And you can do this for all future iterations or sprints. Since these are Kanban teams, I'm seeing weekly iterations. If these were Scrum teams, I'd be seeing sprints instead. Another thing that's important is you can see down here, these 2 stories, 124 and 191. 191 is blocked by 124. And you can see, according to these little handles, this issue blocks 191. 191 is starting 13 days before the end of this issue, and that's a problem. I can also choose to filter by only those issues. And when I'm in a different view, it looks better. Obviously, with it blown up for the screen, it's not so great. And what I can see here is that if I drag this out, that red dependency problem will now turn green. But of course, I just went over capacity in this iteration, so that's another decision to make. But again, what this is showing us is all of our linked dependencies. So I think a lot of people, when they're looking at portfolio management, advanced roadmaps is really their next step in their Atlassian journey. One last thing to show you is this is all within a single scenario. This is my standard staffing scenario. I have a reduced staffing scenario that I set up in this particular plan that I think we cut team capacity in half. Yeah, exactly. So we got rid of half of the team. How long is everything going to be pushed out? So again, the nice thing about this product is this is all being fed live out of Jira. Any changes that I make in advanced roadmaps stays in advanced roadmaps. And then if somebody makes another change in Jira, it'll come up, and if I haven't saved a change in advanced roadmaps, it'll come and take over and show me live data. And I can share this out. I can share it on the web to anybody that has view rights into Jira. I can embed it into an iframe somewhere, or I can embed it over into Confluence. And that, I think, is really the way to go, because the visibility over there, along with the additional information, the additional spin, for lack of a better term, that you can put around that roadmap is extremely helpful. So that's advanced roadmaps in a very quick nutshell. Now let's hop over into Jira Align. All right, so this is a very different product, as you can see. You know, starting out, even the nav bar is different. Let me see if I can blow this up so it won't complain to me. Yep, we're still okay. Still okay. All right. So over on the left, you see the navigation bar. Again, we're now in Jira Align. And at the top, I see information about user. I see common search. I see sections of favorites. Oops, I need to re-sign in. Sorry about that. That's why that was happening. I see favorite functions that I frequently go to that I've saved. I haven't saved any in this instance. And then I see enterprise, portfolio, program, and team, and then lastly product. So here we have 4 layers of the organization, and then an orthogonal cut across everything that highlights particular products. Products, or which could be a physical product or it could be a software product. You know, anything there. Team layer is largely what you're already doing in Jira. There's some additional functionality. I'm not going to focus on that though, because it's yet unknown where Atlassian's going with this product. Because my guess is that they're going to port a lot of the team functionality over into Jira. I'm hoping. Now let's start at the enterprise layer. All the way up at the enterprise, we have this strategy room. And this strategy room shows a strategic snapshot, which is important because strategy changes, especially in this day and age, every year, every 2 years. So we have mission, vision, values listed, and then we have all the way down the hierarchy, all the way down to features. And remember, stories are living down in Jira. Features bridge between Jira and Jira Align. And so we have an entire trace of company strategy from the bottom to the top. We then have progress in this particular strategy set against themes, epics, features. Then down here we have our OKRs. So I've got one portfolio objective. I've hit about 51% of that objective. I've got 16 program objectives, and I'm doing very poorly against those. I've got 16 team objectives, also doing very, very poorly against those. And lastly, we see the objectives and key results tree here. So that's the high level strategy. Again, I'm showing a very thin slice of all this and going pretty fast. So I do apologize for that. Let me hop down into the program level. So I'm going to hop into the program room. And the first thing we need to look at up here is that this context bar at the top, I can choose which program I'm working on. And you can see in this instance, there are a number of programs within my given digital services portfolio. And I've chosen, oops, let me make this a little bigger. This doesn't like the window size. And then I've chosen program increment 5, which is our current program increment. And what we're seeing here in this program room is a one-stop shop for all the teams on my train or in my program to see what's going on. I see a list of actions, not very well written, that we need to get done. I see a list of dependencies. I'm going to cover dependencies a little bit later, but these are team-to-team dependencies based on the features they're working on. I see progress towards my sprints. So I'm in sprint 27, and we've got 17.5% done. I see my architectural runway. And then I've got a list of all the features that we're working on for this particular PI. And then down here, I've got PI objectives. So if we're doing safe, you can see that you can get everybody into this room for the train, and we can track everything together over here. There's also an analog team room as well. We also have PI risks, and I can rearrange this room too. Down here, these are all roamed, so we have ROM. I guess there's no accepted risks living here. Then we have team load, team progress, all kinds of good stuff. In addition to the program room, we have the program board, and the program board really replaces the old, sticky and string functionality that we use at PI planning. And the nice thing is you don't have to come and transcribe it, and people can always see where they are. So here we see teams vertically, and then horizontally we are split into sprints. And what's nice is that so I've got features here in these squares, and I can click on a given feature and see the teams that are working on it, if it's an enabler or if it's a feature. I can see target completion. I can see all of the stories underneath it. And then up here, I can see my objectives, program objectives within the target end sprint. And I can also see all of my dependencies listed. So that, I'm not going to move my mouse because you won't see it, but the 3422 feature in sprint 28 has a dependency on the Baltimore team back in sprint 27. And there seems to be a problem with it. So we can see that the dependency was rejected by the other team. It is blocked. It's not committed. There's a lot of problems with this. So we have now visualized and surfaced a dependency problem with the teams. So this is like really a bird's eye view of everything going on. Anything green with a check mark means it's been accepted by the product management. And there's a whole explanation color wheel up here telling us what we're seeing on this board. They actually opted not to use the strings because it really cluttered up the board. So lots of information there. There's also a roadmap functionality living in Jira Align, and again, we're really just scratching the surface here. So still looking at the mobile program for the 5th program increment. As you can see up in the context bar here, now I've got my roadmap, and you can see here in 3928, you can see progress shading. This one is 41% complete. We have milestones shown on this roadmap, and I can look in a couple different views. This is a sprint by program increment. I can switch to a calendrical view instead and see when things are going to be delivered. I can also break them down, expand them. Lots of information to put in here. And then of course every layer of the hierarchy comes with its own backlog. So we have the strategic backlog with strategic themes. We have epic backlog, feature backlog, story backlog. And here we can see features for this particular PI. This is all contextual to the context bar up top. A really neat feature is I can pull the rank of the epics living above, and I can resort my backlog using epics, and it's going to resort all this. And then I can take a look at it and say, do I want to save this or not? So this is how you communicate between the layers about, well, portfolio management says that these epics are of a certain importance, and product management or program management needs to have that information. We can also see all this in the Kanban view. A lot going on there. Let me show you dependencies really quick, because I want to save time for a Q&A later. Where are my dependencies? Let me just search. There it is. I want to talk to you about the way that Jira Align handles dependencies, which I really like. We've actually built this functionality in Jira, but it does it natively in Jira Align. So let me look at any delivered dependency. So dependencies in Jira Align have their own workflow. It starts out as an ask to another team. The team then commits to it. The work then gets done. And so this really surfaces the questions that really should be happening throughout. Can you get this done? When can you get it done? Did you get it done? And it really facilitates those conversations and surfaces them visibly within the tool. There's also maps of dependencies that I really like. There's this grid view where, oh, come on, all right, I'll have to fix that later. Basically, it shows team by team, and then it shows numbers of dependencies. And the grids that have the highest numbers, you realize these are the two teams that have the most dependencies, and that is a good conversation for maybe we should be talking to management about pulling some, cross-pollinating these teams, bringing them on the same train at least, maybe merging them, something like that. Can I get to the wheel view at least and show you what that looks like? Yeah, okay. So this is another view of that. So we can see, for example, that the Tiger team has a lot of dependencies on it, as do these couple of teams down here. So those might be hotspots for consideration for a team structure. Lastly, I want to show you really quick in the administration section. I want to show you one thing specifically is platform terminology. So depending on how your company is structured, you can label anything in any way. So if you're dealing with capabilities, you can call them capabilities, or you can call them something else completely. And there's some default terminology set using less DAD, certain versions of SAFe, or make your own. So again, highly customizable. And that was a whirlwind tour of Jira Align. Let me go back to my presentation. So what's next? Jira Align, I believe, is going to continue to get a lot of functionality. That's really obvious. Not sure if they're going to roll that into Enterprise Cloud. That's a possibility. I know that they're continuing to fix the connector. They keep adding new versions of it, so that continues to improve. And now that Advanced Roadmaps is rolled into the basic Jira products, I think we're going to see a lot more people using them effectively, and I think that's going to really solidify portfolio management within the Atlassian tool system. I know they're trying to take market share from a lot of other tools. I think they're doing a pretty good job with it. All right, so Q&A. There is a Q&A function in Zoom. You can type questions in if you'd like. And I'll wait for a minute to see if any come through. Let's see. I got a private one about other training, which is actually the next thing. We do a lot of training. A lot of these are free. So Introduction to Portfolio Management is right here. You're attending it right now. We have a Jira Bootcamp coming up next week, which is aimed for administrators. We have a Confluence Bootcamp coming up. We do Atlassian governance webinars. We do Introduction to Jira Align and Introduction to Service Desk Management in Jira. And we also do Atlassian tools for non-software teams as well. Let's see, any other questions? Hopefully this means that I've answered most of your questions already. I hope this didn't go too fast. I feel like it went pretty fast. All right, well, absent any other questions, if you have anything else that you'd like to talk about, you can always find events that are coming up for us, xbm.com/events. You can always send me an email, briandar@xbm.com. We're happy to answer any questions you have about this or anything else within the Atlassian ecosystem. Or you can always hit our website, xbm.com, and click on Contact up in the top right corner, and this will actually submit a Jira ticket to us, and we'll respond to it. So yeah, thank you all very much for attending. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you in the future. I'll sit down here for any more questions, but otherwise, please feel free to head out.